Welcome back, everybody. Friday morning, final segment of our week, and we're going to end it with a bang here. If not for the game we have coming up tomorrow, which I'm most looking forward to because we're calling it, the Bison home opener against Tennessee State. Get done with the game, get my stuff done for the news, and I'm going to settle in and watch tomorrow night the game in Lincoln on NBC because Colorado, who the Bison just faced, to take on Nebraska. I got a feeling there's going to be quite a few eyeballs in Fargo and North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Will be checking out that. And our next guest has been a stalwart on our show. We just celebrated 5 years earlier this week, and he's been on our show multiple times. We've had him from Ireland all the way now to all over the place, and the fact that he's back working is even greater news considering I know he's had some health stuff to deal with. The sports director in Omaha, Nebraska, KETV, Mr. Andy Kendeigh, is joining us again this morning. It's great to see you, bud. How you doing?
Good, Dom. Hey, happy anniversary. And I am thrilled to be one of, if not the only international guest that ever appear on your show. Thanks for the well wishes. I had a back issue. It's called osteomyelitis. If you want to go Google it, it was just a weird deal. But back on my feet, we're all good. We're looking forward. The Huskers are 1-0, and I actually got to catch a lot of that Colorado NDSU game last week, and I thought the Bison were going to pull one off there, and then stuff happened at the end.
So first about you, and because I know you don't probably spend a whole lot of time at this, but was it a thing like out of the blue? Were you feeling bad? What happened?
Oh, about the back?
Yeah.
I just thought I was like old man. I've mowed the lawn, I'm sore, and usually that lasts for like 2 days, and then you get over it, right? Or maybe a week, and it just didn't. It just kept persisting, and it actually got worse. And then after about a month or month and a half, I finally got an MRI, and they showed osteomyelitis is a bone infection. I could talk for hours on this, but osteomyelitis is a bone infection that lodged in my spine that spread to my bloodstream, which raised red flags. So they hospitalized me for about 5 days. I had to miss my middle daughter's high school graduation, which in the end wasn't so bad because the PGA was going on. The graduation was on the stream. I didn't have to fight any crowds. I made the best out of a bad situation, put it to you that way. But, after antibiotics and all this stuff and great care, with the doctors at Methodist, we're back on our feet, and I'm back not 100%, and I still can't shoot high school football games, which I do.
I know you love to do that.
Yeah, and it's just one of those deals where you just got to let nature run its course. But we're back on our feet and doing well. But thanks for asking.
I know I was following it, and it's great to have you back, and I'm sure the viewers in Omaha are great to have you back, especially with I know how much you love Friday night football. You got plenty of people to go shoot, man. You don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's what they say. But I enjoy going.
I know.
Out. The energy and the passion.
I hear you.
It's really cool.
Yep.
And it's just a weird. Like last week was week 1, and it was just a weird deal of staying in the studio and not going out running around and battling traffic and cursing at the red lights and all that stuff because you had to get back to the studio. It's just kind of one of those deals. Yeah. And if you ask, it's total fluke. Total fluke. Could happen to anybody. Yeah. I just won the osteomyelitis lottery. How about that?
Well, we're glad you're back and healthy, and there's no one I want to talk to more for what's happening. I saw Colorado up close. You did last year when you went to Boulder. First off, that's quite the scene, man. It is a different deal out there. I came away, I don't know how much better they are. They have unbelievable high-end talent, but after seeing what the Huskers did, I think Nebraska's going to roll them personally in this game tomorrow night.
Well, Dom, that's it. I watched it too, and I kind of came away with the same feeling you did. They've got great high-end talent. Their great players are going to play on Sundays for years, and they're terrific. And they've got multiple offensive weapons. And maybe in years past, I'd be worried that, maybe the offensive power that Colorado is can maybe cover up some of the deficiencies versus some prior Nebraska teams. But after seeing what I saw last week and what I saw during training camp or fall camp for Nebraska, this team is not like teams of the last few 5-10 years. This is a good, balanced team that plays complementary football. At least they did against UTEP. Now, I know UTEP is in Colorado. Yep. But, man, what I saw last Saturday, whether it be from the quarterback, the wide receivers, or the lines, and I think that's really where the difference is going to be up front over the weekend, because I think both offensive line and defensive line for Nebraska really have a point to prove after what happened and the wheels falling off in Boulder last year. But I tend to lean your way, Dom.
Yeah.
I think that Nebraska's, there might be some punches thrown back and forth, but in the end, I think Nebraska's going to win this one.
Sanders is something to watch, and Hunter's amazing. But their defense, the Bison were leaning on him, and there were a couple plays. I know you watched the game. The Bison were this close to – they were 4 yards away from winning it on a Hail Mary still at the end.
No question, and quite honestly, if the drive before that, if they score, that's a different game too. I think it was a third down goofy play where it was maybe a penalty, a delay a game.
Delay a game. Yep.
Yeah, and Sanders is great, and Hunter is great. I think that Jimmy Horn.
Jimmy Horn's really, really good too.
Oh, he's terrific. Yeah, no doubt. But the Bison moved the ball. Not at will, but they moved the ball.
They did.
And I think Nebraska's going to move the ball. The thing that's different about this Nebraska team, Dom, this year is that they have some dudes, not just up front, but they've got some dudes on the perimeter. They've got some real NFL-type bodies with some transfers. Jamal Banks, Isaiah Nayor, both found the end zone last week. And they got a quarterback now. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, this kid is the real deal. I mean, for all Nebraska history, like there's a stat that the freshman quarterback debuts, Dylan Raiola had a better debut than Tommy Frazier. He had a better debut than Eric Crouch, than Adrian Martinez, than Tommy Armstrong, and Adrian and Taylor Martinez. So this is a guy who produced more offense in his first game than all of those big name Nebraska players. Oh, by the way, won the Heisman Trophy. Yep. And granted, those guys were more runners than throwers. But man, this is the difference that Raiola can drop back, read defenses, and pick the open guy. And here's the thing: the open guys make the catch, which wasn't always a guarantee in past years. And I think that's a big difference.
One of your colleagues tweeted out the video, every single throw that Raiola had, which I love, by the way, because we're seeing it right now. How would you grade it? How would you grade his performance last Saturday against UTEP?
Well, first of all, that's Matt Satilli. He's a wonderful colleague of mine at KETV, doing a great job. And he's getting his full first season. He came mid-year last year. So he's getting his full first season ingrained in Husker football. I would grade Dylan's performance probably an A-. He wasn't perfect. He did force a few throws, but I'll tell you, the two things. One, the 2-minute drill at the end of the half, which now we do have 2-minute drill in college football, which is something to adjust to. But he took the team down the field, and he had one shot with about 8 seconds left, and he threw a ball up to Banks, and Banks went up and got it. And that just shows me that was an NFL throw. That was an NFL catch. That's one. He made the throws, and he moved the team down the field, and that really put the game away. It was a 30-7 game. He comes out for one series in the second half, leads him to a touchdown, and sits the rest of the game. The other thing was, and Matt Rule brought it up earlier in the week, he triple checked. He checked out of one formation, checked into another, and then checked back to a different formation because of the defensive fronts. And that led to the biggest rush of the day, Emmett Johnson with a 42-yard rush. And Matt Rule was blown away, saying that's the type of thinking, high-level thinking, that you don't ever get from a freshman, let alone a senior quarterback. And he said that maybe that play, even though he didn't throw the ball, he was most pleased with. So I think that gives Husker fans some reason to believe going into week 2 against Colorado.
And I have to assume the hype train has already left the station here.
Oh, yeah. Well, as you know, in the off season, the hype train usually gets full of coal and it's chugging along, and then it takes for the last 5 years, Don, they haven't been able to win their opener.
Correct.
Think about that. They hadn't won an opener since 2019, and so this is why if they can beat Colorado, right? And I know it's no gimme. But if they can beat Colorado, you got Northern Iowa coming into town.
You're winning that game. You're winning that one.
And then Illinois on a Friday night at home, which is the first Friday night non-Black Friday game they've had at Memorial Stadium, I think, ever.
By the way, can I ask you about that? How unpopular is that, by the way, in your neck of the woods? Okay.
Very unpopular. I think everybody gets it, but nobody likes it. You know what I mean? You understand that there's inventory on Friday nights and they want to place games on Friday night. They just don't want it to be in Nebraska, right? They could even handle an away game because they've done that in years past. They played at Rutgers, they played at Illinois before, but to host a game, and not only that, sports directors hate it too. I mean, what the heck are we going to do on Football Friday? And a game that starts at 7 won't likely end before we're off the air.
Nope.
It's like, how do we cover this thing? So we got some decisions to make. So
Yeah.
after Illinois, so you got Northern Iowa, Illinois, at Purdue, home against Rutgers, at Indiana. So there's a chance, Dom,
Yep.
there's a chance that they go 7-0 before they go to Ohio State, which would be a real test. And obviously the rankings would come with that. But, first you got to get through Colorado, a burr in their saddle. They've met, this will be their fourth meeting since 2018, and they've lost three of them, the first three meetings. And two of the three, take last year aside, they fumbled the ball 5 times. But, two of the three, the Husker fans really believe they should have won. And this is a rivalry against Colorado that there's some hatred between the fan bases, and and this could be the final time that these two teams play, at least in the regular season, because they're not scheduled. The schedules go out until the mid 2030s, and so who knows if they'll ever get together again in this new era of college football. So that's why I think there's a lot riding on Saturday, so many layers, and I think Husker fans will be ready because they want to beat this team. Probably this is the game this season that everybody circled.
Everybody wants to beat Colorado. I had a kid who's from Fargo who plays at Stanford. They played. Yeah, we want to beat them. I think that's just the natural mindset of just the hype that they are. Everybody wants to beat them. It comes with the territory.
How did you get treated out there? Because I know Husker fans, when they were out there, they ran into some hostility.
I wouldn't say hostility. I think they were surprised the amount of Bison fans that came, and I think Colorado football fans are still new to college football. They were loud when Colorado had the ball. I couldn't. I saw the Colorado sideline was doing this because they still didn't understand to be quiet when they had the ball.
Right, the quarterback has to hear. Right,
yeah, it was odd to me. By the way, you said about scheduling. Matt Rule went on Pat McAfee, I heard him say, and not schedule any of the Dakotas. What's he doing? You're killing a chance for everybody wants the Bison and the Huskers to play.
Well, I know. Well, because he's smart.
Yes,
he's smart.
Correct.
Because
yes.
we know what the Dakota teams can do. Heck, my alma mater, Wisconsin, has South Dakota coming in town this week, and I was talking to a old college buddy, my old roommate, and I'm like, this is no gimme. You get. I don't think you guys understand what kind of football they play up there, and this is their chance to really make a mark. This would make their season.
Oh
and you guys played toe to toe with Colorado. I mean, you guys had multiple chances to win that game. NDSU did, and I that's why I was wondering about the fans, because I wonder if the fans go, oh, nice effort, UFCS school, one of those deals. Like, it's so nice of you, but to come out here and play us, and then you guys almost beat them on their home turf. And I was surprised at how much gold and green I saw in the stands. It was pretty impressive. Great showing by your fan base.
You are a great Omaha high school football mind. There's going to be 2 out there tomorrow for the Bison. One we know. The other is going to make his home debut for Bison fans that haven't seen him yet. Andy, give us the lowdown on Marty Brown and what kind of player he is.
Well, he's a solid player and a guy that is a classic Omaha guy who plays with a chip on his shoulder. And I tend to find this with a lot of guys who go up north for college. They have a chip on their shoulder to prove that they were overlooked, right? And Marty Brown's one of those guys. Like, he loves where he's at, but I think he knows that maybe he plays with a chip on his shoulder because he wants to prove that he belongs not only there, but maybe even someplace where, the NIL budget's maybe a little bigger. So I just think it's something about guys who travel out of state to play and they get overlooked by the home school state school, I should say, that I think those guys play with a little chip on their shoulder. And I think that benefits them. And I think you'll see, I think if nothing else, you're going to see great effort. That's what I always say. These guys come to work. These kids from Omaha, they know how to work. They bring their lunch pail and they just get after it. And that's the best thing you can say about anybody.
The other guy is Cole Payton, who I know you know well. He may be lined up everywhere. We might see him catch a pass tomorrow. You saw him up close. Would that surprise you if he's catching passes tomorrow?
Not at all. He's one of the better athletes I covered at the high school level. Led his team to state championship at Westside, and the kid's a gamer. And he's another guy where you still have Husker fans thinking that they let one get away when Cole Payton left the state. He is a gamer. I watched him last week. He's an easy kid to root for. Put it to you that way. He's an easy kid to root for, and he's so talented. He's one of those guys that you got to get on the field. And I know that you got a great quarterback too, but find a way to use that kid, and he will make a believer out of you, because he can do just about anything.
It's great to see you, bud. I'm so glad you're back at work. Have a ball tomorrow night and tonight. I know you're going to be busy tonight and tomorrow, and we'll do this again soon, all right?
Dom, great to talk to you, man.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes. Andy Kendeigh, sports director at KETV in Omaha, who always gives us the lowdown on the Huskers and, of course, all the high school guys. There's quite a few of them coming from Omaha, either play for the Bison or the Jackrabbits, and it's always great to see them. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up. We got a busy Sports Friday. We'll get you ready for that on the weekend. Hot Mic wraps right after this.